Video games are a consequence-free place where you can steal, kill, and basically get up to all sorts of shenanigans without a care in the world. But there are those times where you can get up to stuff that is so horrible that when you take a step back, you can't help but think, holy f***, I am a piece of shit.
This is awkward.
Number 6. Scribblenauts. With a cutesy art style and a quirky premise that involves solving puzzles by summoning random things out of thin air using the power of words, you wouldn't think that Scribblenauts is a game with any sort of questionable content. Well, you may be wrong there. During the full stop diner level, a cannibal walks in wanting some dinner, and to solve that problem, you have to conjure up people for him to eat. That's right, you are literally feeding humans to a cannibal, and there's no progress to be made until you do it. There is the option of turning the cannibal into a vegan by feeding him fruits or vegetables, but that's probably a worse fate than being a baby munching dinner guest. Number 5. Injustice, Gods Among Us. Superman, a shining beacon who is the personification of justice, truth, and basically all things good. In this case though, good may be a relative term. In Injustice, Superman finds himself up against a bold and raging Black Adam, who starts throwing cars at him just because he can. Being the overpowered son of Krypton that he is, Superman decides to blast each of these cars into pieces using his laser vision, just because he can. Which is all good and well, until you realize that all these cars had people in them. Innocent people. You see, Black Adam didn't go for parked cars. No, he decided to go for those moving ones from the street. And for some reason, Superman decides to blast these poor people into bits rather than, save them. And the most f***ed up thing? This only stops when Black Adam decides to engage in fisticuffs instead, presumably because he's just as shocked as we all are at Superman playing skeet shoot with innocent bystanders. Maybe Batfleck actually had something of a point about Superman after all.
I'm not doing anything until this gets fixed.
Number 4. Assassin's Creed Revelations. It goes without saying that the assassins in Assassin's Creed aren't exactly good people, but at least they try to justify all the knives through necks by following the don't kill any innocents rule.
Stay your blade
from the flesh of an innocent.
But if the actions of Ezio from Assassin's Creed Revelations are anything to go by, it looks like the assassins also subscribe to the do as we say, not as we do rule. In the game, Ezio is tasked with hunting down someone in the underground Turkish city of Derinkuyu, which had about 20,000 people squeezed into it like sardines. Rather than smoke out his target like, an assassin, he decides to detonate a massive pile of gunpowder and smoke out the entire city instead, which is a recipe of genocidal proportions. An underground city with poor ventilation, plus a massive fire with smoke everywhere, equals people dying from choking. So in short, Ezio sent 20,000 people to their smoky grave just to get one guy, who he kills anyway just for a key. What makes this even worse is that Ezio is told beforehand that maybe setting an entire city on fire isn't the best idea, and yet he still does it anyway.
See, I am counting on it.
What an asshole. Number 3. Pokemon. When you think about it, Pokemon is actually quite a messed up game. It basically revolves around hordes of unsupervised 10-year-olds wandering around the globe hunting down monsters and training them to battle against each other in what is essentially a sentient underground dogfighting ring. And the crazy thing about all this isn't even the most f***ed up part of it. Random battles are the backbone of what happens in Pokemon, and if you win, your Pokemon gets experience and a pat on the head. As for the poor defeated Pokemon, well, they get left stranded in the wild while slowly dying. Sure, there are Poke Centers that give medical attention to Pokemon, but wild creatures have no one to take them there, and they sure as shit aren't getting to a Poke Center on their own after losing a battle. So the next time you win a random battle against a wild Pokemon, just remember that you're literally sending it to its death in the most horrific way possible. Then again, Pokemon is filled with enough creepypasta to give someone a heart attack, so there's probably no need to have piles of dead creatures littering the streets as well. Number 2. Illusion of Gaia. Seeing as how Illusion of Gaia is a pretty straightforward JRPG that involves some precocious kids saving the world from some big evil, it's a little hard to believe that this game would have any questionable atrocities for you to commit. As with every other RPG, you're able to take a breather from saving the world in order to tackle other random quests, which in this case is collecting red jewels from all around the world. In the midst of your jewel hunt, you will come across an escaped slave who begs you not to rat him out, not out of concern for himself, but for concern about the guy hiding him. That's all good and well, until some slavers come up to you and offer you a precious red jewel if you sell out the escaped slave's location. Normally this is a pretty easy decision to make, but Illusion of Gaia throws a wrench in that. Outside of cheating, which is obviously bad, there's no other way to get this red jewel, which means you have no other choice but to sell out the poor guy to the slavers. Hey, you may be endorsing slavery, but at least you'll get that sweet 100% completion rate. Number 1. Fallout 3. The The beauty of Fallout is that the games have such a warped sense of morality, you can literally play jump rope with being good or evil, and the game will still be entertaining as all hell. Having said that though, there is one quest in Fallout 3 that falls deeply into the evil category. When visiting Rivet City, you may come across Angela, a 16-year-old teenage girl who flip-flops between being crazy and being obsessively in love with the celibate priest Diego. You have the choice of just ignoring her or helping her out by giving her some Ant Queen pheromones so she can seduce Diego. If you decide to help her, then what you essentially did was give a teenage girl drugs so she can date rape someone. You get up to enough morally questionable things in the Fallout universe to make Walter White look amateur. So why is this so different? Well, that's because you get 100 points of positive karma for helping this crazy girl. Huh. Well, at least Diego married the girl afterwards, so that's gotta count for something, right?